Today we are here with Eli's Cheesecake Company. We have with us Laurel Boger, Executive Pastry Chef in the Research and Development Department, Tara Lane, a Research Pastry Chef also in the Research and Development Department, and Diana Moles, the VP of Research and Development. Thank you ladies for joining us today.
Hello.
Hi. So can we go around the room a little bit, and can you each kind of tell us a little about your background and yourselves and how you came to be in your roles at Eli's?
Sure. I'll go first since I'm at the top of the list here.
Okay.
Laurel Boger. I started at Eli's 10 years ago. Before that, I worked at Michigan State University. My background is more in cake decorating, but I did some development work at Michigan State and really liked it, so I kind of pursued something outside of that, and Eli's took me on, and Diana took me under her wing, and I really had a good time here learning about that process.
Okay.
Diana, that goes to you.
That goes to me. Okay, well, I actually started Eli's 25 years ago, and I actually started at a bake shop in my early career, a little European bake shop where we made specialty type baking items. Well then, one day, I'm from the neighborhood, so this is where I grew up, and a flyer came to my house saying Eli's Cheesecake is looking for help. So I immediately ran to Eli's, and I was interviewed, and I got the job. So I actually started back in 1987, and Jolene Worthington, our Executive VP of Operations, took me under her wing and told me there would be all kinds of opportunities here and growth and career paths and things like that, and she was sure right, because now I'm the VP of Research and Development.
My name is Tara Lane, and I am the baby of the bunch. I've only been here a couple months, and Jolene Worthington approached me at a farmer's market because my background is in fine dining and seasonal food. So I was a pastry chef in New York and in Chicago, and so I was brought on to help with research and development and help these guys out. So.
That's great. Okay, well this is kind of a question for each of you. What's it like being an inventor and kind of coming up with new products at Eli's?
Me again? Okay. I'll start again.
Okay.
Well, when we saw these questions to begin with, and when I first saw it, I was like, my first thought was it's challenging. It's challenging to always try to think of new things. There's a lot of people out there creating all kinds of stuff. It's also working in manufacturing, staying within the confines of that and making sure that you want to be creative, but you also want to be able to produce it on our equipment and through that freeze-thaw process. But it can be really rewarding, it's surprising, and it's really fun. It really is when we come up with something that succeeds that we didn't maybe think we could do, or new flavors. I love that. I love the coming up with combinations and new things and just surprising myself or having my team members surprise me with some really interesting things. And food is just a lot of fun. So I enjoy it.
So I guess it's my turn. Well, when you say inventor, I think of Edison. So I'm like, I don't really see myself as an inventor.
Mark Schulman actually called you guys.
Oh, he did. You're right. He did. Yeah. Well, I see myself I'm more of a visual person. So the newest thing that I love is Pinterest. I love going on Pinterest because you can pull ideas from Pinterest, even if it's one component, and actually compose a product from that. So I'm constantly looking at magazines and cookbooks and Pinterest, and all my free time is sitting on the kitchen floor just going through recipes and books and things like that. So because I'm more of a vision person, I visualize the composition of what I want to create. And so then I go to the bench and I do it, and I'm like, whoa, it worked, So it's kind of rewarding.
Right.
But and all of what Lori said of working in manufacturing, there's different constraints that we have to follow. So it has to work for everyone, basically.
I think one of the strongest points that we have is being an inventor also means like being a collaborator. And so we have many different perspectives. And so part of it is one person will bring in an ingredient, then we'll talk it through, we'll remake it, we'll make another iteration, we'll do it again. And so it's just a building process, and it gets better and better, you know, as we keep working through a particular idea. So that's really fun.
Okay, so moving on to the honey portion. When did you start working with honey in your products, and can you remember the first product you ever put honey into?
Do you want to start, Laura?
Yeah, it kind of seems to work this way. Well, I wasn't actually getting paid to do it, but I you know, made my own honey butter as a child because I loved honey. So I used to put that on saltine crackers. At my first job, we used it a lot in things like pecan diamonds because honey goes so well with nuts. So that was something that we used it in for the first time. And now here at Eli's, we're doing that again, working on a new pecan pie where we're using honey because it gives it that. It just adds that dimension of flavor that you really need when working with, you know, with something that sweet. The honey really helps. So that was my first foray, and now I'm still working on pecan pie.
Never goes away.
It never goes away. It's always popular, honey and nuts. So, but Diana.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I do remember my very first honey project. It was back in 1988. I know. Were you born then, Elizabeth?
Oh, yeah. I was 10.
Okay, you were 10. All right. Back in the olden days, we had to, we came up with a product for an insurance company, which that insurance company gave as gifts to their customers.
Okay.
We made about 5,000 of them at a time, but it was a brownie-based nut. It had all kinds of nuts, macadamia, cashews, pecan, all kinds of nuts in this honey caramel kind of sauce that we topped on top. It was beautiful. When it dried, it had this beautiful sheen to it. Well, that company bought that product 5 years later. We were making vats and vats of this honey caramel. It was one of my very first projects, big projects like that. So it actually was with honey.
That's awesome. That sounds really good.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the first projects I worked on at Eli's was actually our new honey almond, Mediterranean honey almond cheesecake. And what I loved about it was every type of honey that we tried and how different they were and how many layers of flavors. So yeah, that was something really cool. But
okay, Diana, when I visited you guys in, I guess that was back in January already, you said before that honey was one of your favorite ingredients to work with. Why is that?
Well, you know, well, first of all, because of its flavor. I love its flavor, and I love the colors and all different shades of the honey. But for, like, out of the three of us here, I think I'm more of the scientist one. You know, they're real creative, and I feel like I want to know the properties of the functionalities and things like that of the ingredient.
Okay.
So when we're working on a shelf-stable product, and we worked on a really big product not too long ago called the Wildflower Honey Bar.
Right.
Yeah, I think we talked about that before when you were here.
Mm-hmm.
But that bar had to sit in a case, an ambient case, for 3 days. Okay.
Oh wow.
It was made with honey, and honey has wonderful properties to it. As a, you know, it's hydroscopic. Has humectants in it so that it holds the water in it and keeps it moist. So I love that property of it. So you can really extend your shelf life when you have honey added into your product.
Sure.
Also, I love the way that honey bakes. So you get this beautiful golden caramel surface on your product, which it takes longer to achieve that with regular granulated sugar, beet sugar, cane sugar, things like that. So, and the flavor. Of course, the flavor is, you know, wonderful. So
how much honey would you say Eli's goes through per year?
So we were just, you know, it all depends on how many projects are on the docket, but currently we're about 5,000 pounds a year on honey.
Those bees are busy.
Yes, they are.
And you get a lot of your honey with the Chicago School of Agriculture Sciences, so can you just talk a little bit about that partnership?
Sure. Well, actually, we have been working with them for many, many years. But the one story that I have about the Chaz School is when we started working on that wildflower honey bar. We partnered with them for the honey, and we actually launched this beautiful wildflower honey bar. And they had at the time 3 hives. And we were going into commercialization on this, and the 3 hives weren't going to be adequate for what we needed. So it was a cute story because one of the students told me, she's like, we had to increase our hives to 15 hives just to keep up with our demand. Wow. So, which was very cool because that kept them really busy, and we got what we wanted. And right. So we've been working with them for a long time.
It's almost like 7 years.
Yeah.
With the honey.
With the honey project.
The school has been.
So.
And I see that the honey that you sell through them is actually part of your display there in the little bears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We sell it in our cafe.
I have one. I'm like halfway done. So can you talk a little more, I know you have that Mediterranean cheesecake there, about the products Eli's currently has on the market that include honey?
Oh, would you like me to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, keep going. I'm on a roll. Okay. Well, we do have a few items that have the honey. We have a wildflower almond honey cheesecake in 7-inch and an 8-inch, and that's more for the retail market. We introduced this new honey this year, which Tara could talk about it because she worked really hard on it. Yeah. And we did have, recently we had a gluten-free ricotta cheesecake sweetened with honey. You know, it's a staple here at Eli's. It's on every one of our benches when we're working. So it becomes part of our ingredients. It's just right there. We know that we can it's readily available, and we can use it whenever we need to enhance products or things like that.
Sure.
So, any other?
Tara, do you want to talk a little bit about that cheesecake there?
Sure. Part of our inspiration was thinking about Mediterranean flavors, so and different cheeses that we could put into the batter, like ricotta and mascarpone and other items. But one of our inspirations were, how do you take sort of the lightness of a cheesecake batter and then add like an essence or a flavor to get the honey flavor to come out? So we didn't want to add any kind of artificial flavoring to it. We wanted just the pure honey to come out. So it's a very clean product. It has almost like a caramely nougat. The pistachios and almonds, there's a layer you can see inside where the honey like coats the nuts, and then they're also salted. So it gets this kind of honey butter flavor, and then it has a really nice mousse on top, and then just garnished with the almonds and pistachios. So we love it.
And you know, Alyssa, we actually showed this at the National Restaurant Show last week.
Okay.
It had so much hype. People just love this product. So we really think it's going to go really far, you know, just because of the response on this. It was just, everybody loved it. Everyone that tried it just said, that is amazing. They love that cake, you know.
Great.
So we got good feedback. Good feedback.
That's great. So kind of what are your plans for honey in the future? I know you said before that you try to develop products that are ahead of its time with its consumers. So kind of how do you gauge that scenario for honey in the future?
Well, you know, first, right now, as of right now, we don't have any honey projects on the docket right this minute, or do we?
Well, I'm working on one.
You're working on the pecan pie.
The pecan pie.
Right, the pecan pie.
It really makes the difference in the filling. It's wonderful. So if you ever make pecan pie at home, add honey to
So
the filling.
Yeah.
Well, when you were talking about why we like to work with honey, Diana kind of pulled out the functionality of it and everything, and the first thing that came to mind was the perception. And right now, that is the trend of the perception of honey, and the value of honey is that it isn't as processed, and it has this great flavor and things like that. So we really want to bring more in because I think the consumers are looking for things like that now. So we are excited to bring honey kind of to the forefront of some of our development. Right. And this 10-inch for the retail line for the food service line is kind of a start, and then with that great response of how good it is, and it lends itself to candy, it lends itself to as a sweetener. We can, we're gonna have some fun with it.
So yeah, it's never, it's always in our minds that we're gonna do something with honey. If it's a bar, a cheesecake. When you came, we were doing that Florentine bar. That's still in my head. Yeah. We still have to produce that, but things like that. So a lot of our request is driven by our customer too. So you never know what the customer would like, because we do a lot of custom work.
Right. Okay.
Custom products.
Yeah. Perfect.
So.
Well, thank you ladies so much for joining us today and talking about honey and bringing everything. And I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. This was a lot of fun. Thanks.
It was fun. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
Bye.